So now we have this data model, which we're going to be building in Salesforce. We have a building, apartment, and tenant objects, and we have to create that relationship between those objects in Salesforce. So obviously, in this scenario, the problem that we're solving is we have to store building information, apartment information, and tenant information. And for each different entity or for each different thing, we're going to create an object. So we go to Salesforce and set up, then object manager here. We have to create new custom object and give it a name, building. All right, building. Buildings is the plural. All right. So we can give a description, but in this scenario, for the time's sake, we're going to be not giving. And what are the fields? So we have this building name as a name field. So that's why, so pay attention. This is your name field. Each time you create a new object, you're going to be presented with this option, building name field, right? So you have two options to choose, text or auto number. So I'm going to go with text option. All right, you could select this option, allow reports, activities, field history tracking, allowing chatter groups. Those are optional settings you can select. Make sure it stays as deployed and then select this option so that we can create a tab right after it and save. I need to now create a tab. Let's select a style, style, tab style, let's say building block. That kind of matches with that. So next, and do I want this object or tab to be attached to all of this profile? Do I want this to be available for all of this profile? Well, I can say let's make it only available to apply a different tab visibility. Let me not make that available for all the other profiles. So I'm going to make that available to myself, okay, and the test user. Default on for these two users. By default, it will be off for other users. And do I want to include this tab in all the apps? Let's say no, I don't want to include that in all the apps. Then I will click on next. Maybe I want to include that in the sales sales profile. Okay, sales application, sorry, and then click save. So what that setting means is, just briefly, that tab will be available only for this application, okay? So it's not going to be attached to the other. You see, building is attached to the sales app, but if I go to service app and then select the available tabs, you see here, I don't see that building tab. So I made it available only for the sales application. That's what it means basically. So we have created the building object. Now it is time to create a fields on it. Okay, by default, these fields get created. And then we have to add these three other fields: address, year built, and capacity. Okay, new field. And it is an address field. So we're gonna pick a text as the data type. You can pick that and select next. Give it a name, address. Length, let's say 200. They can type up to 200 characters to give the address. Click next. And do I want to give access to all the profiles? No, I want to give access to system admin and standard user access, profiles access, and then add it to the building layout. Yes, add it. I'm creating another field right after it, and that field is going to be year built, okay? Year built, all right? So year built is going to be a date, right? So we could go with this option, date, year built. Click next, year built. Next, as you realized, I'm not making any field required. They're going to be optional. Add it to the page layout. We have to create one more field, and its name is capacity. Data type is going to be number. Number, let's set this to 4 and save. But what does it 4 mean? 4 means, guys, 4 means in our the number that they can type in will have 4 characters, like 2233, okay, or 9999. All right. So they cannot type more than 4 digits into that field. Why we're going with number 4? Because we don't think we in our building we will have 9,999. We don't think we will have more than this apartments in that building, right? And also we could make it even less than that because it's not possible to have almost 10,000 apartments in one building. So let's just make it let's just allow users to type 3 digits, and that's going to indicate that in one building we could have maximum 999 apartments. That's kind of makes sense, so we could go with that option. All right, so that's why I'm changing it to 3. That's what that length means. That's where it matters. Click next, and I'm following Salesforce best practices, meaning I don't want to give access to other users if they don't need it, right? Do we have any more fields? No, that was the last one for this object. And click Save, right? So we have created our building, and we can also find it, right? On the Sales app, we could find this Buildings tab, and here we could create new buildings now. We don't have any building yet, right? Let's go ahead and create one. And in our sketch over here, so the first building we had is South Building, right? So let's go ahead and give it a name, South Building. And address is 1 Main Street. We're not going to worry about the zip code and everything. So let's say the year for this was 2013. 2013. So pick any date and change this to 2013. All right, capacity 120 buildings, right? If I try to type now here like this, right? Let's say it has this many buildings, just a made up number, and click save, it would give me an error. Capacity, value outside of your valid range. So I can only type 3 digits here. That's why we selected the length for 3. Click save. So we have now created one building, right? In that entire object, we have one building. So go here and select all. You see, as you can see in this building, we have only one, in this object, we have only one building, that's South Building. Let's select some fields to display here on this list view. I want this, capacity, address. All right, so we got one record created here. The next thing is we have to build the apartment object, right? So we're going to follow the same process. Same process, go to Object Manager, create new custom object, and its name is apartment. And apartments is going to be the plural. It starts with vowel, so let's select that because the letter A is a vowel. We're skipping description and we're going to keep this as apartment name. Let's see. Yeah, apartment name. Apartment number is a name field, okay? Apartment number. So let's change this from name to number. And data type is going to remain as text. Select these optional settings. Search, select that too. Launch new custom tab. Select save. And select the tab. I'm just going to be, building is here. I just want to pick anything to save time. By default, it's going to be off. Okay, it's going to be off, but I'm making this on for standard user and also the admin user. We will talk about in the future lessons what this default off and tab hidden and all of that means. Okay, don't worry about that yet. I'm not including this on all the apps. I'm including it only for the sales app. And here we have different sales apps. This is for the Salesforce Classic version, but for the Salesforce Lightning version, we have this app. So select this one. Don't select the other sales apps, okay? And this is your Sales Console. We're not using the Sales Console app much. We're using the standard Salesforce sales application. That's why I'm selecting this one. Click Save. So apartment object got created. Let me create those two fields on it. This one already got created. And now I need to create this number of rooms field there. Number of rules field, right? Click new field. Number of rooms. This is going to be a number field. Select next. Number of rooms. How many rooms can have in one apartment? I just want to give you an idea like what you should select here. We don't want to be randomly selecting here, right? Just think about this scenario. Can one apartment have like 999 rooms? No, right? So can it have 99 rooms? Maybe. Can it have 10 rooms? Maybe. Can it have 11 rooms? Maybe. If your answer is maybe, yes, then you could make this 2. All right. But if in that apartment we can have only up to 9 rooms, then we will select there a length as 1. That means in any apartment, the maximum number of rooms can be 9. Okay. It cannot be 10, 11, etc. So I'm going to go with 9 because that makes more sense to me. And decimal places, I'm selecting 0 here. I'm keeping this 0 as by default, as a default selection. Now, what does that mean? That means we cannot have, right? We cannot have, for example, 9.5 apartments, right? That's not going to be possible. So if you go here, it says number of digits to the right of the decimal point. In this scenario, I have 1 decimal point after that, 1 digit after that decimal point. Users should not put 9.5 there, right? Because that's not, we cannot say we have 9.5 apartments in that 9.5 rooms in that apartment. That doesn't make sense. That's why we're selecting this 0 option here. This 0 option here. But if I select 1, then the users would be allowed to put 9.5. If I select 2 here, then users would be allowed to put 9.55, for example, as a number of rooms. That's not going to be the valid use case, so I'm just setting this back to 0, and the length is 1, and click next. I'm not giving access to all the profiles, only giving access to these 2 profiles as usual, clicking next. Add it to that page layout, because if you don't select this option, that field will not be there on the page layout. Make sure you select that. And that's it. Apartment object is also created. Let's refresh and navigate to the apartment. It's not here yet. Okay, let's refresh. More, and here it is. Under more, here's apartment. Let's create one apartment. What do we do in this drawing? We created apartment 101. It has 3 rooms. So new apartment. Apartment number is 101. Number of rooms, 3. Now, if I enter 33 and click save, you know that this error would pop up, right? Because of that limitation. Now, how about if I put 3.2, save. So 3.2, it allowed me to enter 3.2, but then when you go here, it corrected it back to 3, right? So it's not displaying that 0.3 part here. Sorry, 0.2 part here. So let me go back to apartments view and select all apartments. And here we have one apartment. Let's display more fields. This one, number of rooms, click save. All right. So now we have this apartment building and also that other, sorry, we have this apartment object and this building object, but they don't have the relationship between them yet. So you see this relationship does not exist in between them yet. And that relationship is built with this field, right? With this field, that relationship is built. Like we have to create this field that is master detail field and then connect it. By looking at this table, you can tell that this apartment is connected to south building. Not because of these lines, okay? Even these lines did not exist. You could tell it from this value. You could tell that this apartment is connected to this north building because of this value. So that's the relationship now we're going to build. So if you recall, the relationship between building and apartment is 1 to many, right? It is 1 to many relationship, right? One building can have multiple apartments. That is why when we create that master detail field, we are going to create it on the many side, on the many side. What is the many side? Apartment is the many side. Apartment object is on the many side. So that's why we will go ahead and create it on these objects. So what I will do is I'll go to apartment object from here, object manager. I'm on the apartment object now, and we will select new. Okay. Before I select new, on the schema builder, let me show you those 2 objects. Okay. Building. Let me refresh here. I'm going to show you those 2 objects, and you will see that they don't have relationship between them yet. Let's clear these selections and type building. Here it is, select that, and apartment, and select that. So we have 2 apartments, 2 objects, sorry, and they are standalone objects. They don't have that relationship yet. We know that one building can have many apartments. That's why this is the many side, this is the one side. One to many relationship. That's why we have to create that lookup field or the master detail field on the many side, meaning on the apartment object. So here we are on the apartment object. We're creating new custom field. So let's select that data type, master detail relationship, and click next. And related to which object this is related to? It is related to building. Let's select building and move on. Click next. I'm going to give this, I could say this is the label, field label. I could set that as building name, or I could just keep it as building. Let me just go and keep it as building, okay? Child relationship name, apartment. Don't worry too much about this for now, okay? We're going to talk about this later on. And this one, the child relationship name is an internal reference and is used for integration purposes. Be careful when you're changing this. So, okay, as an admin, you're not going to be using this much, all right? For integration purposes and for developers, we'll refer to that when you write SQL queries, but let's don't get into that part. So simply don't worry about that too much yet. And keep that default settings as it is and click next. And it is visible to all the profiles, okay, because it is a master detail field and we don't have an option to change it. Okay, by default, it is visible for all the profiles. Click next. And by default, it is added to the page layout. In the previous scenarios, when we were creating the other fields, we had an option to add or not add it to the page layout. But because it is a master detail field, it is going to be a required field. That's why all the users need to have access to it, and it has to be added to all the page layouts. And click next. And this is the related list name. Okay, related list label. Okay, this is the related list label, apartments. So basically, whenever we are on the building object, when we check the related tab, there we're going to see related list as apartments. Okay, so for example, when you go to account and then you click on this related tab, here you see opportunities, right? On our example, when we open a building object, okay, when we open a building record, not object, but the record, and then when we click on related, here we're going to see a related list, and that related list name is going to be apartments. That's what it is asking. A related list label. Do we want to change it? No, we don't want to change it. We can do that, but we will not do it. We'll just keep it as it is and click save. Oh, all right, bummer. It says cannot create master detail relationship. Because of a reason, you cannot create a new master detail relationship on an existing custom object if records already exist, okay? We're going to discuss this a lot in a lot more details later on, but the reason is I have one apartment object, right? I have this apartment, and inside this apartment, I have this apartment. Inside this object, I have this apartment. Because of that, it's not allowing me to create that master detail field on this apartment object. I'm going to simply delete this. All right. And then I'll come back here. Now, unfortunately, I have to restart, but that's fine. All right. It told me you cannot create it. Please take care of your stuff and then come back and create it. So I had to delete that apartment record from that apartment object. Don't worry about it. We're going to cover all of that later on. In this scenario, I just had to do it. Okay. So clicking next. Now I created that master detail data type, right? Now I have connected my two objects. I'm on the schema builder. Previously, they were not connected. And I'm going to refresh this. Now you will see that they have a nice connection between them. You see? We have now connected them. Master detail field on the apartment object, and it goes and connects the building object to it. Now, that connection is made. You can see that in the backend that those two objects are connected. But how can I connect my apartment record? So for example, if I create new apartment, okay, 101 is the number of rooms is 3, click save. How can I, okay, I need to refresh this. How can I relate this apartment to a building? So let's start again creating a new apartment. 101. After I refresh, you see, we now see that building field on the apartment. Every time we are creating an apartment, it needs to be attached to the corresponding building. And here we have a field that we can find and select values. So I'm going to select South building, number of rooms is 3, and click save. We have basically done this part. We have basically done this part, guys. Okay, this part. So we created one part of my drawing. We created one building, and then we created one apartment. All right. And then we connected them with each other. We can create another apartment and connect it to this building. And then we can keep going in that pattern. All right. So that's what would usually happen. So if I want to create one more apartment real quick, click new, apartment number 102, room numbers 4, building south, and save. So, and now we have connected these two apartments to the building. Now, if I go to this building, okay, so let me go to my buildings object and select my one building. And if I want to know what are the related apartments, I can click here and I can see that on this, to this building, the south building, it has 2 apartments in it for now. That's how we can view that relationship. All right, so we will continue more about this in the next sessions.